Cobra effect and perverse incentives. This branch is all about how a good idea on paper can totally backfire when the reward is tied to the wrong thing. The Cobra bounty worked at first, but once people realized they could make money by breeding snakes, the incentive quietly flipped from reduce cobras to produce cobras, and the original problem came back even worse. Rat bounty and Goodhart's law. Here's the focus on how a simple metric, like rat tails, can hijack the whole system once it becomes the target. People optimize for tails, not dead rats, which shows Goodhart's law in action. As soon as the measure is what everyone aims at, it stops reflecting the real goal. Soviet nail quotas. This branch shows how workers will chase whatever the system is paying for, even if it produces nonsense. When the Soviet factories were paid first by nail count and then by nail weight, they cranked out tiny useless nails and then giant heavy ones, proving that badly chosen targets kill quality and practicality. Human nature and self-interest. Here the idea is simple. People respond to what affects them personally. Folks will naturally protect their own homes and families without being told. But when it comes to big collective problems, they only lean in if the setup lines up their self-interest with the group's goals. Input-based versus outcome-based incentives. This branch contrasts paying for activity versus paying for actual results. When you reward inputs like carcasses, tails, or raw tonnage, the problem itself becomes a revenue stream. But if you pay for clear outcomes, fewer cobras, fewer rats, working nails, you force everyone to aim at a real target. Industrial complexes and perverse profit. Here the focus zooms out to modern industries of problems like crime, war, or chronic illness, where whole sectors make money only if the issue sticks around. Once there's a stable cash flow from a social problem, there's a built-in drag against actually solving it, because fixing it would shrink or kill the business model. Time limits and program design. This branch is about putting expiration dates on incentives so they don't morph into permanent grifts. By adding time limits, like a short-term bounty window, you make it harder for people to build entire schemes around gaming the system for years on end. Successful incentive, bottle bill. Here's the it actually worked example. Bottle deposit laws. By adding a tiny refundable charge on drink containers, states like Oregon pushed people to bring bottles back, which drove high return rates, cut litter, and supported recycling without needing constant moral nagging. Skin in the game and responsibility. This branch is about making sure that people making decisions also feel the consequences. When decision makers share both upside and downside, they're less likely to design goofy, gameable systems and more likely to push for incentives that solve problems instead of just shifting numbers. Flexibility, feedback, and complexity. Here the idea is to treat incentives like ongoing experiments in a messy world. Because human behavior and complex systems always surprise you, you need to watch what actually happens, learn from side effects, and be ready to tweak or scrap the rules instead of assuring you nailed it on day one. Media incentives and ground news. Here the focus is how news outlets are paid to grab attention, which pushes them toward outrage and partisan narratives. Tools like ground news try to counter that by showing how different sides cover the same story, labeling outlet bias, and helping you spot your own blind spots so you're less trapped in one echo chamber.